can hear me? Good? Awesome. All right. Well, I'm back. For those who have been here all day, once again, I want to share, my name is Andrew Hua. I use he, him, his, and he, him, his pronouns. Usually I introduce he, him, his, ta, which is also representative of my ethnicity. But with that being said, I serve as the Interim Director of Case Management Services and also the Chair of the Wellness Symposium. I'm excited to see folks here in person and those online engaging for today as our last speakers here. Hopefully some of you got to engage with some of the activities, some of the sessions that were available throughout the day. There's still more sessions tomorrow, and also the farmers market. I've seen a few of you have the wonderful and cute Otter Wellness Symposium tote bags. We'll give out a couple more later this evening, but also you should have received a passion planner if you entered through the door. But before I keep going on, I'd like to just share, we have an amazing speaker for tonight. So for those who are in the room and also online, I hope you're excited. Today we have the opportunity to speak, and I have the opportunity to introduce Angelia Trinidad to the Wellness Symposium. Just to give you a quick synopsis of Angel, she is also part of the UC family. I will share that after Angel is from UCLA. I graduated from UCLA. After graduating UCLA, she continued her passion, and that's where it continued with the Passion Planner. Angel identifies as a first-generation queer Filipina American and found herself, I'll share a little about her journey, found herself depressed, struggling to find direction. With the motto, action cures fear, she took the leap and created a Passion Planner, a paper life coach from her parents' garage. And her parents are here today, if you want to wave. So thank you for all your support in Angel's work. Since then, Passion Planner has now helped 1.5 million people live in their purpose with less stress and more fun. Now a thriving multi-million dollar company. I've never had to say that. Passion Planner gives back through a growing Get One, Give One program, donating over 500,000 planners each year to empower schools and NPOs all around the world. So I'm super excited that we were able to bring Angel to this campus, to the UCSD community. If you can give me a big round of applause to welcome Angel to the stage.
Thank you so much, Andrew. I really appreciate it. My name is Angelia Trinidad. I go by she, they pronouns. I'm actually a San Diego native. I was born here in San Diego to my lovely parents there in the back. And I kind of wanted to share a story of how I became a community-made millionaire, because I don't think that very many people that are community-made millionaires look like me or have the same background as me. So hopefully by sharing my story, it helps you believe that you can achieve whatever you set out to be, whether that's to be a millionaire or to start your own business or to explore different life paths that you might have not seen other people that look like you do. So I wanted to share with this photo. This is my family, all in bowl cuts, except for my little sister who didn't have enough hair to have a bowl cut. But my parents immigrated here from the Philippines after they were married and had 4 kids. And I think all of my siblings are here actually today. And like many first-generation kids, I really wanted to make my parents proud. So when I went to high school, I put a lot of effort into getting good grades, playing sports, and eventually I got into UCLA. And when I got into UCLA, I was like, okay, I think I want to study pre-med. And I don't know how many of you in here are like super sure about your majors. Who's super sure about their major? Who's not so sure about their major? That's okay, I was in that boat. And I was like, okay, well, I went in for pre-med and spent my first 2 years studying more than I was sleeping. Who else can relate there? There you go. People that know their major. I saw, and I was like, okay, well, if I want to, if I'm studying more than I'm sleeping, I might as well pursue something that I really love. So I decided to change my major to art, and my parents did not really like that. And after I graduated, I was like, okay, I don't really know exactly what I want to do. I kind of want to start a business, but I'm not sure 100%. So it kind of got me into this, I sank into this post-grad depression where I didn't really know what I wanted to do, because I felt like school was so structured and there wasn't anything out there that was helping me find the structure in the real world. So I took out a piece of paper and I wrote my goals, and I started to realize like goal setting had to come from within. That was the only way to build my own happiness. I was actually really happy as an art major, but I knew that I didn't want to be a professor, so I was like, okay, well, what next? So I wrote down on a piece of paper that I really wanted to help people, and I came out with this Kickstarter video that I want to share with you. Let's see, hopefully the audio works. That is an ad. I knew that was gonna happen, I'm so sorry. Is HDMI gonna work? Okay, let's see. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Let me add subtitles just in case. Okay. Oops. It's on the computer. Okay, maybe I'll just put the mic to the speaker and improvise here. Sorry. Doing things in person is hard. If we were still, I could just screen share and it would be fine, but. Yeah, that's very smart. Oh, yeah. Nice. Okay, I think we got it now. Okay, perfect. Okay, we got it.
What the heck am I doing with my life? This was the question I asked myself over and over when I was caught in a period of directionless floating. I had just graduated from UCLA, and I had no idea what I wanted to do next. This post-grad uncertainty spiraled me into a strange depression, and I found myself caught in analysis paralysis. After 3 months of overthinking and worrying about the future, I decided that I just needed to take action and pull myself out of this rut. I took out a piece of paper and brain vomited everything that was swirling around in my head, and I realized that one of my most important lifelong goals was to make a tool that helped people. I thought about what helped me the most during the most hectic yet most fulfilling times of my life. I realized I always had a sidekick that helped me organize my thoughts, my planner. But I was unsatisfied with the planners on the market. They were all very practical, but not personal. They helped you plan your daily life, but were not concerned about what you wanted out of life. I wanted to change that. I wanted people to look at the big picture and ask themselves, if I can have, be, or do anything, what would it be? And plan their lives according to their answer. I wanted to make a planner that got people to dream big, take their dreams and break them down into actionable steps, and incorporate those steps into their daily lives. And that's how Passion Planner was born. Passion Planner harnesses the power of paper by giving you one place to store all of your thoughts. I believe pen and paper is important. There is something transformative in writing something down that doesn't happen when you do it digitally. Passion Planner begins with an exercise that helps you map out your long and short-term goals. Then it walks you through breaking them down into more actionable steps and provides weekly layouts for you to incorporate those steps into your daily agenda. The weekly layouts are composed of weekly and daily focuses where you can ask yourself, what is the most important thing that needs to get done in this given day or week? An appointment calendar that runs from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. broken down into 30-minute increments. A section for good things that happen to keep you focused and looking for the positive in every week. A motivational quote and a matching challenge to encourage you to translate those words into positive action. Dual personal and work to-do lists organized by priority to promote personal and work-life balance, because all too often we get caught up in work and put our personal needs on the back burner. Lastly, there is a blank section where you can use to take notes, draw, journal, brainstorm, or customize to your needs. Every month has a 2-page overview where you can define and break down the most important projects of the month. Lastly, each month concludes with reflection questions to get you thinking about progress, gratitude, and steps for improvement. I am doing this Kickstarter to fund the production of a smaller version of Passion Planner, Passion Planner Compact. It has been redesigned for increased portability so you can take your Passion Planner with you anywhere. Passion Planner has evolved into the tool that I wish someone gave me when I was feeling lost. This year alone, Passion Planner has helped thousands of people accomplish their goals. I have so much belief that Passion Planner can be a catalyst to change someone's life that I feel that anyone should be able to use it regardless of their financial ability. That's why I've decided to offer it completely for free. If you share this Kickstarter on any social media and shoot us an email saying that you did, we will send you the full PDF version of Passion Planner 15 for you to use to pursue and chase your dreams. I'm so excited to see what amazing things you guys accomplish with the use of Passion Planner. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone. So that was Baby. That was like from 2014, so it's been a minute. But that video actually changed my life completely. Let me go make sure that this is in present mode. So my first Kickstarter, I launched it from my parents' garage, and in 30 days, managed to raise $48,000 with the help of 1,000 people. I think I knew 100 of those people, but the rest, I had no idea who they were. They were just people that really resonated with the product. And then the next year, and this was the first shipment of Passion Planners ever in my parents' garage. You can tell that my parents are immigrants because half of our garage was occupied, but I rented out half, which was really cool. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for letting me do that. And then we launched the second one, which was the smaller version, and in 30 days was able to generate $650,000 from more than 23,000 people all around the world, which completely changed my life. And on the website, on top of that, we did $1.2 million plus the $650,000, which equals a whole lot of money. And I became a community-made millionaire. Literally, thousands of people believed in the vision and the dream of bringing something that could help people take a step back, look at their lives, and define what they want, and actually start taking steps to get there. So since then, we've been featured on all of these places. But more importantly, I think, is what we've done in the community. So far, our bio is actually, we didn't update it, because now we have donated 600,000 planners to nonprofits all around the world, which I'm really proud of, especially the one here in San Diego. We support a nonprofit called Arts. It's a Reason to Survive, and it's a national city, and they pretty much extend arts education to kids in the community. So that was really cool. And then also we've donated $650,000 to nonprofits all around the world. So our biggest are Malala Fund and American Forests and Charity Water, and Pride here in San Diego. So that's a little bit of Passion Planner story. A lot of people are like, well, how do I start? And the quote that I've come to is, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to start. And people are like, okay, well, how do I start? And it goes all the way back to using your Passion Planner. So if you have a Passion Planner, you can actually flip to the front. There's a thing called the Passion Roadmap. And it looks like a mind map. This one has stuff written on it. And it asks you the question, if I could be anything, do anything, or have anything, what would it be? And how many times has anyone ever asked themselves this question? I feel like if you've used Passion Planner, I think you have, but most people never really think about what it is that they want to be, do, or have. So I hope that you sit down with it and start to ask yourself, well, what is it that I want to be? For me, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I also want to be a writer. I also wanted to be someone that was out. And I passion planned all of those things. So, and I know that this symposium is all about belonging. And I saw this post online, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. It says, the sooner that you be you, the sooner people looking for you will find you. And I feel like I've found that throughout my whole journey as an entrepreneur. The people that I work with are people that I love and I care for and I want to spend time with every day, and I get to do that. And a lot of them are here today, which is really cool. And I think just start experimenting. You will never know what a lifestyle is truly like until you experience it. Like if you've never had vanilla ice cream, I can't explain how vanilla ice cream tastes. It will never compare to the actual taste. So just try to experiment with different lifestyles, try different things, see if you actually like it, and you will never know where it'll lead you to next. So I think that is it for my kind of overview of my story. And if we want to get into the Q&A, yeah, thank you.
All right. Yes. So part of our conversation and our presentation today is not only getting to know Angel's story and the Passion Planner, but hopefully learning a little bit more through our discussion. We have a Q&A. I have a couple questions I'd love to ask. And for the audience, both online and in person, for in person, if you have a question, I encourage you to just line up next to the mics. They're at the ends of these rows. And please just line up. And if you are online, submit them in the Q&A. We'll get them online and sent to me, and I will ask them. But with that being said, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. I mean, like, so many people in the crowd are people that I know and love, and that just kind of like speaks to the community aspect of like how it's so important to build your community and foster your relationships. Like Jax is my COO, and I met her in college, and she is the person that I work with day in and day out and have been working with for the past 7 years to build Passion Planner. So like the connections you make in college really can be like the connections you take into the real world.
Oh, that's amazing. And you know, I'll be honest with the audience here, like I got a moment to speak with Angel behind doors right before we started today and did some prepping, and I can't tell you how much I was kind of like fanboying, fangirling. I was like, can you please sign my Passion Planner? You know, I have seen the Passion Planners everywhere. I've seen individuals in my life utilize the Passion Planners, and I can't tell you how much they've changed their lives, right?
So awesome.
And I can tell, you know, some of the students I work with. For those who don't know my work, I work with students who are in distress, right? And sometimes that high level of distress. Your Passion Planner provides a structure. And I wish I could give every single student a Passion Planner and say, this will help you get through. You know, one of the things, our theme for the conference is sense of belonging. What does sense of belonging mean to you?
I think sense of belonging, what it means to me is first knowing who you want to be. And because I think that if you don't really stay true to who you want to be, even when you find a place where you think you belong, you actually just fit in. And belonging is being a part of a community that embraces you for who you are. And that's something that I think I've had to explore throughout my life, and like even leave home to figure out like a community that would like accept me for who I am and not try to change me. And that's taken time. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, and you know, I think when it comes to sense of belonging, everyone has their own definition, right? And how do we find that here? You know, you shared a little bit about how much community meant to you in your presentation. You know, you have a crowd of individual, young, impressionable undergrads and also grad students, right? What would be your advice through the many challenges that you've had to get to where you are now?
Advice in general in life or belonging?
Yeah. Anything that you want to share?
I think that understanding that all choices come with a downside and expecting that downside and embracing it and moving through it with ease. For example, the example that I always give is the dog you bring home is the one that's going to poop on your carpet. You know, so when you decide on a career, when you decide on a relationship, when you decide on, like, you know, like how you want to identify, all of these things are going to come with the darker side or the poop, you know, and you kind of have to deal with those things with grace and kindness for yourself and try to not expect that everything's going to come out ideally, because then that's when you set yourself up for these expectations to not really add up, and it leads to unnecessary frustration. So if you know that when you take home a puppy, it's probably gonna poop on your carpet when it happens, you're like, okay, let's just get through it and move on and continue to establish the relationship. So.
Sure. That's awesome. And as you talk about puppies, I just got a puppy.
Good luck.
I know. It is a 2-month-old micro golden doodle. It's my sister's. She chose to do it. But besides the point, one of the things I wanted to ask you is, with Passion Planner, I wanted to know, how can you use the Passion Planner to prioritize wellness in your own community?
I mean, I think, so there's a reason why in the Passion Planner to-do list, the personal always comes before the work. Like, people always say you have to fill your vessel first, and I know it becomes really difficult, but something that we do in our own Passion Planner community, our whole focus for I think the past month was rest. So how can we be more proactive on rest? Because you should, well, in an ideal world, you shouldn't be resting when you get burnt out. It should be, hey, I know that the tank is getting close to empty, I need to take a break. And I think that your priorities aren't what you say they are what your calendar says they are, So if you really want to prioritize your wellness, whatever that looks like to you, blocking off that time and treating it as sacred, kind of like if you were having a lunch with a friend, you wouldn't just flake. But we have so many promises that we don't keep with ourselves, and we blow ourselves off a lot. So even rebuilding that relationship with yourself sometimes takes small commitments. So for me, when I get really depressed, some of the things that I ask myself to do is I'm gonna just take a 5-minute walk outside. Yeah. Or I'm gonna shower today, and sometimes you have to go back to these basics, because to expect yourself to do something really difficult when you are in a state of being I think mentally injured is kind of setting yourself again for that disappointment.
That's super fair. I think this question has been posed in many spaces. How do you build community sense of belonging after coming out of a pandemic? We've been on screens for so long. How many of you want to go back to screens? Anyone? For those that are watching, no one rose their hand. But how do you do that?
I mean, I think it's trying to start slow. I think that it's an adjustment. We've gone through a whole different style of living for 2 years. And again, it's managing your expectations. Even when you choose to go back in person, know what the poop is. Know what the risks are when they're there. Before you get into those situations, try to curb them, but also know that there's such a strong benefit to seeing people in person. Me and my CEO have, for the past week, we've been trying to meet together and work in person, and it makes work just feel more fun. It doesn't, I feel like a robot whenever I'm just on the screen doing work. So I think it's starting slow, starting small, and managing your expectations, and understanding that it's going to be an adjustment.
I appreciate that. And, I'm an extrovert myself, so when I heard that we were coming back in person for spring quarter, I'm ready. Let me see the people. I started my role in the pandemic, so being here even new, trying to navigate the Price Center, I feel like I'm a first year again, right? So that's awesome. I do want to take a moment to recognize there are folks that do want to ask you questions from the audience. I have some online, but I see individuals in the corner over there. Would you like to go and ask a question?
Oh, hello. Hi.
Hi, Andrew. I know you also. We are meeting on for the Symposium, if you recognize me. So yeah. My question is, at some point of my life, like 5 years back, I thought to become a wedding planner, but I was very much confused that will I be able to succeed in a competitive market where we have almost like 50 different companies who are already a very successful wedding planners. So how, when you started your career into this field, what made you feel confident, if you entered in this planning area, how will you be successful? And were there any backup support for you, who really supported you to like go ahead with this, like, a source of motivation.
Yeah.
So what would that be?
Yeah, so when I first started Passion Planner, I was like, oh, well, there's so many planners on the market, but I want to make sure I'm speaking to you. There's so many planners on the market, well, what can I add value? But I started to think about, okay, well, I don't really need to help every single person on the planet. I can literally help I think it's like 1% of the people on the planet and become a millionaire. Like I think that a lot of times we think, oh, there's so many people already in the space, but there's also so many people that need help. So when you really think about how what you want to do, wedding planning is, and how many people need help, how many people are getting married, it kind of gives you this different perspective on, I'm here to help solve people's problems, and they're willing to pay me for it. Because I think that entrepreneurship really is being able to solve someone's problems in a very creative way. And I think that, you can do that. And there are definitely people that need help planning their wedding and don't want to do it. And those people, when you find those people, when you start to, book a few weddings, get a few people's names on your past client list, they'll share it with their own friends. And I watched that happen with my own aunt. My aunt owns a wedding flower shop. I worked there for like 7 years. And she immigrated here from the Philippines, literally knew nothing about wedding flowers, and first started making silk flowers. And within, I think, 3 years I think the first year of me working for her, she became the top-rated wedding florist in all of San Diego. And then Yelp was a huge thing for her. So there's definitely so many, just know that there's so many opportunities for you to serve, and that those opportunities are ways for you to make money. So, and I think your second question is who supported me. I mean, I'm really lucky. I have a lot of really supportive family and really supportive friends. And not a lot of people are that lucky. So I would lean on trying to surround yourself with more people that have dreams, that want to go after it, that are kind of also putting themselves out there. And if not actually in person, then reading books of people that have done it. So by the time I graduated from UCLA, I had audio book listened to 150 self-help books. And I would say at least 50 of them were people sharing their journey of how they became entrepreneurs. So even though I wasn't surrounded by entrepreneurs in my family or friends, I was surrounded with entrepreneurs in a mental space. So.
Wish you best of luck. May you reach international countries also.
Sorry?
Like, I wish you all the best for your expansion into abroad also in countries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And if you didn't notice, if you speak, you get a wonderful tote bag too. So I encourage those in the audience if you want to ask a question. So, Angel, I wanted to ask, one thing that you and I talked prior to this is the many intersectionalities, the various identities that you hold, right? As a student, when you come in as an undergrad, you're exploring your own identity. Mm-hmm. You're exploring who you are. And even coming out of a pandemic, you're exploring how do you navigate this school, right? You and I have gotten a little bit tossed around when trying to find rooms here. So my question is, with the many identities that we hold, how do you navigate that? How do you find your sense of belonging on a campus that is so large, and you're still exploring yourself?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think just starting with one identity that you really want to explore, that you're drawn to, and it's interesting because the topic of labeling or identity, like I put labels on myself so other people can understand me, not so I can understand myself better. Because I think that this is as close as I can get. But I think that the human experience is so nuanced. And we're also ever changing, So especially, for example, for sexuality, like your sexuality could change throughout your life. But I guess for me, like I've just had to be able to have the courage to step beyond an old identity if it's not something that I want to wear anymore. And I think that not being afraid to change your identity, change your career, change your relationships, change and experiment into different realms is going to, and doing that is actually, I think, a practice. It's not something that you do once in your life. It's something that you do over and over again. So putting yourself out there, seeing if you like it, seeing if you don't, living that experience, and then asking yourself, hey, is this something that I want to keep doing? Is this something that feels true? And then if it isn't, then reshifting. So knowing that when you identify yourself in whatever it is, that doesn't mean that that's your whole identity, and understanding that you can continuously change and evolve. And if people are so stuck on you being one identity and they prosecute you for it, then I think that there are people that are also struggling with their own sense of identity. So I think that it's multi-pronged. It's like first being open to exploring, and also being open to exploring beyond identities that like might not be in your family or your community. Like for example, I think I'm the first millionaire. I mean, I don't know, my parents or my siblings, I don't think they're millionaires, but I'm the first millionaire. But if I was like, oh no, I'm not, I could never be a millionaire. I could never be a millionaire. I've never seen any of my family be a millionaire. I think that is something that could be like limiting, but it also understand that when you do explore a space, that sometimes it feels lonely. And sometimes when you want to find other people that are in that space, you might have to also go out of your comfort zone to meet those kinds of people that also identify the same as you. So I think that's kind of a long answer, but it's a long, lifelong process.
Yeah, and it's a complex question, right?
Yeah.
I did not expect a simple answer to come out, right? And I agree and I appreciate that it's not something that you just do once. It's something that you continue to do.
Yeah.
And our identities can change,
Yeah.
right? So.
Yeah, and it's something you do over and over again. And I think sometimes at least for me, I thought, okay, yeah. Even for me right now, I'm like, oh, I really want to be an entrepreneur, and I am an entrepreneur, but I'm now like 8 or almost 9 years into entrepreneurship. I've also wanted to be a writer, and I'm like, maybe I should explore that, but I'm like, I've built my whole identity, even the speaking engagement, on being an entrepreneur. But I think the beauty of human life is your ability to experiment with so many different opportunities, and I think opportunities are things that should be treasured and, taken advantage of. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And if you don't try, it's automatic no, right? So, I do want to share, it's so empowering to see you in this seat and seeing you here. I'm close in age. We talked about, we won't reveal ages. But it's so empowering to see you where you sit, right? As someone who identifies within the BIPOC community and someone who, strives to support students across the world, right? You are doing that work.
Thanks.
I get to do it in a small university, which is great. I love it. But it's awesome to see, someone who shares an identity, a racial identity as I, doing some amazing and impactful work.
Yeah.
Now, I see a line of people that have questions for you.
hello.
So I'll pass it off to one of our students. So.
Yeah. And I think before we go there,
Yeah.
I think it's easier to be what you see. So I think even though I'm an introvert, I really am like, okay, I want to be on stage and I want to talk about my story because I've never met anyone that looks like me, that is at the same intersections as me, do the same things as I have. And I hope it helps people be like, I could do that too, if they even identify with one identity that I share.
Yes, representation matters. Go ahead.
Hello.
So I have a question for the planners.
Sure.
I tend to procrastinate or don't really want to write anything every single day. But do you have any advice as for how to continuously write in the planner?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's actually something that I struggle with too, and I think that we as a society really try to be perfect, and we try to fill in all the blanks all the time. But I don't think as humans that's how we are supposed to be. But and just being gentle with yourself. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm so sad, I'm so depressed, I don't really want to write in my planner. That's okay. You could write, I'm so depressed in my planner, or I'm so sad, or I think that what's beautiful about paper and journaling is it's going to accept you wherever you're at. And I've what's so nice also about paper is it doesn't care. It's not going to judge you. It's not going to say, oh my gosh, you haven't been here for like 4 days. I'm so upset, or 4 weeks even. So I think understanding that that's okay and that's completely normal, and also taking it slow. Like maybe after you brush your teeth for 5 minutes, just write in your planner. It could be in any section. It could be in the good things that happen section. It could be in the to-do list section. It could be, I'm just going to reflect on what happened yesterday. Because sometimes when I write and I even cross off what I did yesterday, it just makes me feel like my life is moving in a positive direction. And that is so nice when I feel like things are really hard. So hopefully that helps. Awesome. Thank you.
We can move up too.
Oh, yeah. We're just going to sit here on the edge.
Hi, I had a question about, I guess, your journey from being like an art student to an entrepreneur. So you talked a little bit about this already with like the self-help books, but I was wondering if you took like classes on business or anything, or how you just learned more to like get into that space.
Yeah, so I think actually if I could go back to my slides, this is a perfect question because I prepped it. Do you mind switching over back to the slides? Okay, so like as an art major, one thing that really was helpful was me being able to take an idea and make it a reality. Because that's literally what entrepreneurship is. It's like, hey, I have this concept for this thing, maybe I can make it, and then making it and putting it out in the world and crossing your fingers and reiterating. So one thing was like, okay, UCLA was like throwing out these desks, and I was like, I think I could make a bookshelf, and I'm gonna make it out of a brain, or into a brain, and I did. So it was like a rep of trying to do that. And this, it was like, oh, okay, I was like, I think I'm gonna, like, I'm so upset with packaging because styrofoam outlasts meat all the time. So I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna make this meat out of concrete. And even the concrete, the styrofoam outlasts the concrete. So it's just, yeah, so that was another thing. But it was like bringing these ideas to life. Okay, my aunt owned a flower shop. So I was like, okay, I have all these materials, and I wanted to build something that reminded me of my childhood. And it was this one movie called Troll in Central Park, and I don't know if anyone has watched it, but I know my siblings have, but it's about this troll, and he goes into the sewer, and he makes this sewer like covered in flowers to make this baby happy. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I was like, I kind of want to make a space like that, so I built this whole thing. And it was, again, having this concept, this idea, and then making it a reality. UCLA misprinted all of these flyers for Jazz Reggae Fest, and they were like, can you make something out of it? And I was like, sure, why not? So then I built a lion. So it was like, okay, like let's just make something out of something and just have fun with it. So that, I think when it comes to shifting from art to entrepreneurship, it was really about taking an idea and making it real. And then when it came to business, I worked for my aunt in her flower shop for 7 years. And she had no business experience at all, but she knew how to work with people, and she knew how to say, okay, well, this is what you want, I think I can make it happen. And we were doing like 7 to 10 weddings a weekend. And I was like, 15, and seeing all of that. So putting yourself in spaces where you can learn business without having to spend money on making a business is a great way, which is why I would recommend, if you think you want to do a startup, potentially taking an internship at a startup, seeing how it runs, and not having to invest in all of this money. I also think reading business books. I would read The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. It was pretty much a book that I consumed and read at least 30 times, and it's all about rethinking your thoughts on work and like building a 4-hour work week. And right now it's a 40-hour work week, but it's the concept of, okay, if I could only work 4 hours a week, what are the things that I would do? And really focusing your energy there. So I think those would be my 2 main recommendations. And also picking a problem that you know how to solve deeply because you've experienced the problem. So if it's like, I would have loved this thing if it would have existed when I was going through that problem, more often than not, one other person out of 100 has also felt that problem deeply, so then you have a pretty strong market already. Because if you think about 1 out of 100, well, that's, I think, millions of people on a 6 billion people, 7 billion people scale. So really thinking about problems that you know deeply that you can solve. I think those are the things that I would give in terms of business.
Thank you so much. That's
Yeah.
a great answer.
You're welcome.
Firstly, thank you so much for sharing the passion planner with us. So I always wondered, like maintaining, like having the motivation, and that's what which is needed every day. So I had trouble maintaining the consistency in setting up my goals. But now that I have the planner, it's like I'm pretty much confident that I'll stick to my goals. But I just wanted you, could you please share some of your experiences, like how did you keep yourself motivated and consistent, like in achieving this huge success?
I think how I've kept myself motivated, consistent, is by being really gentle and kind to myself. Because I think that throughout my high school career and even my college career, and even up to Passion Planner and becoming extremely successful, I was very much putting work and progress and like efficiency at the forefront, but then it completely made me feel like not a human. So then I took breaks. I took a year-long sabbatical after one of my best friends passed away, and that was a hard transition. And then whenever I'm overwhelmed, I usually take a break. It's understanding that the purpose of life isn't to work, and it isn't to be productive. It's to enjoy being a human and experience different things and learn different things and experience them with people that you love. So I think for me, I think those are the things that keep me motivated versus like, oh, I could make another $1 million, next year. Because at the end of the day, money is just something that you then have to manage, which is really sometimes difficult. But if you can clearly define what it is that you want out of life and plan your life around that, even on a financial scale, and not get caught up in more, then I think it's the best regulator of your own happiness and your own stamina as a human, because like the hustle wheel never stops, and I'm like, I don't want to be there. And I don't think a lot of people, especially in the entrepreneurship space, speak on that, of, hey, business should be a means to an end. It should be a means to make enough money so that you can support yourself, the people you love, the team, and then what, So I think that's how I stay motivated. I just try to stay true to what I want to do in my life.
Thank you so much. Your story is such inspiring. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And just for everyone to know, I know we have about 9 minutes left. For those who did want to ask a question, but I know we were cutting off the line, do know that we are happy to give you a tote bag. But we'll continue as long as we have time, so.
Yeah.
Hi, you actually did a speech at one of my high schools. I'm a San Diego native too. I come from Otay Ranch High.
Oh, Otay, let's go.
And your
Okay.
passion planners helped me a lot. And I guess my question to you is, I know rejection is a really scary feeling, and I'm sure that you've experienced that many times throughout developing Passion Planner. And I was just curious as to how you were able to get past that, or if you could share like how to get through it.
Yeah, so I think there's a saying, rejection is just pointing you in a different direction. And I think that I try to take rejection not personally, because it's not about me. It's about maybe I wasn't what that person wanted or that situation wanted. And I also really believe that whatever is meant for you won't miss you. That's something that we say at Passion Planner. And I think that it's kind of, when you put yourself out there, it's more like reps. It's like when you play basketball and you miss a shot, that's a rejection from the hoop. But do you give up playing basketball? No, you just keep shooting, because eventually it's going to go in. And I think that if you can have this level-headed resiliency and not take it personally and not say, that's about me, that's about, they didn't like me, I'm a horrible person, I'm not fit for anything. If you can not do that and just say, hey, maybe it's a part of the game. It's a part of the game. Sometimes I'm going to make it, sometimes I'm going to not. Because when you get to the point where things start working and you actually start getting accepted into the things that you want to do, then you'll gain more skill. And then you'll get into a position where you could reject other people, which is kind of a really cool switch. But a lot of the people that are making those decisions are also people that have gone through the rejection cycle as well. So just understanding that that's just a part of growth, and being really gentle to yourself. And if you get rejected, then having your friends come and like throw you a little charcuterie board party and just, remind you how great you are. I think that that is also really, really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
You had mentioned having read books for and by entrepreneurs before, and I know you mentioned one title, but I was wondering if there were any other books that provided you with like really good insight that you would recommend to other people to read.
Yeah, I think I would say Think and Grow Rich is a good book. I think that some of the concepts are dated, but I think a lot of self-help is written by straight white men, which I feel like a lot of concepts are dated. So I think that is a solid book. I also think Deepak Chopra's, the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success is good, because I think that success isn't all about money, it's about energy. Like, the work that we do at Passion Planner creates a ripple effect of good in whoever it touches and they actually use the product, which I think that energy just comes around. So I would say, I would start there. I would also say, in terms of finance, if you want like a 101 into finance, Ramit Sethi writes a really great book. It's called I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Super solid. And I think after you get through those, kind of exploring what are you interested in. Like, there are so many great authors that are writing about so many great topics, but reading about topics that you're really interested in that resonate with you, or the authors have identities that you also share, I think is also really useful. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi there.
Hello.
So I had a question about your journey as an entrepreneur. So you said that you've been in this space for like 8 or 9 years. And so I've been working on my own personal project, and I see a lot of like setback things that like make me feel like I can't keep moving forward with it, but also like I've done so much work for it. So have you faced any setback in these 8 or 9 years that made you feel like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this, but is there something that really did push you towards, hey, let's continue this? There's a reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah, I think that sometimes you'll have a setback and maybe you just need like a mentor or someone that has more experience, because a lot of times when people are starting from scratch, it's kind of like if you wanted to make a pizza and you're like, I'm not gonna read any recipe book. And I'm like, okay, good luck. Eventually you'll make it, I hope. But if you read a book that is like already structured to give you the recipe, that's different. And also then if you work with a chef that's made pizza all their lives, that's also, can probably help you get through the hiccups of business or the hurdles. So I would recommend doing that. I also think having a really clear why of why you want to do it, at least for me, was the thing that made the process a lot easier. But also understanding that like what your end goal is and making it clear, and just launching and just doing it, and then kind of fixing it after it. And one of the business things that I would tell people is fail fast, fail smart, and fail small. So if you can try it out with a small group of people that could give you feedback before you invest a lot of money, that is great. If you could test it out and you can have people try the prototype and give you feedback before you invest a lot of money, also great. So really trying to mitigate your losses by failing small, I think, is really important. But it depends on what kind of setback. Is it like an internal script setback? Is it a financial setback? I think understanding what that is and then asking for help from people that you can ask online or you can source in chat forums. I think there are a lot of people that can help, but you need to know your problem very clearly. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. So I know we have some folks that still have questions. We're coming close to time, but Angel has gratefully and graciously given a bit of time. She will stay behind for about 10 to 15 minutes if you have additional questions. I just want to say thank you, Angel, for the time. So please give me a round of applause.